Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're revisiting a band called IATT. Now I looked at them maybe back in August, I think maybe it was. I looked at a track called Osteogenesis Imperfecta, and they were a band that very much intrigued me. Because they didn't seem to belong to any specific genre of music. They were sort of an extreme metal, black metal, progressive metal sort of. There were like a fusion of so many different styles of music. I mean, throughout Osteogenesis Imperfecta, the style of music changed so much. It was really quite strange, but it was very, very interesting at the same time. Now, they just released a new track, well, I say a new track, a new video off their album Nomenclature, which was released in September. And the track is called Powder of Sympathy. So I thought, I will have a look at it. Now, I actually had to look up, when I actually typed in Powder of Sympathy into Google to try and find words for the song, I actually found an article about Powder of Sympathy. What it actually is. I didn't actually realise it was a thing. But it turns out Powder of Sympathy was a form of sympathetic medicine that was current in the 17th century in Europe. And it was basically a remedy or cure of sorts was applied to a weapon that had caused a wound. And that was supposed to actually heal the wound that weapon had caused. It's a very unusual sort of thing, applying a medicine to the actual item that caused injury to heal the injury. It's very, very strange. So, turns out it was an actual thing. Now I ended up having to actually contact the band to get the lyrics for the track, and they very, very generously supplied me with the lyrics, for which I am extremely grateful. I'm very interested to see what this is like, because like I said, the first track I looked at of theirs was very, very interesting, very strange, very unusual. There's actually not that many lyrics to the track, I'm very curious to see where this is going, because I was very, very interested and intrigued by this band. So I think we'll jump to it. I've been waffling on for nearly 3 minutes now. So we'll have a look at Powder of Sympathy by IATT. Let's have a shifty. again, this band just absolutely fascinates me. They sort of, I can't find any specific genre of metal to actually put them into. You know, they've got so many different things going on. It's really bizarre, but it's thoroughly interesting. You know, they had like your sort of prog metal rock elements. That there was doom metal in there somewhere. There was black metal. There was death metal. There was all sorts going on in there. It's quite a lot to take in. You know, it's quite an assault on the senses, really, and it's yeah. But again, it's very very interesting. I mean, along with the multitude of different styles of music, there was at least three different styles of vocals going on in there, if not more. You know, absolutely fascinating. It's one of when I first heard this band, when I did Osteogenesis Imperfecta, it's one of the things that really struck me and stuck with me is the fact that it's not like anything I've heard before. You know, it's such a strange combination of so many different things put together in one place, and somehow it manages to work. You know, there's nothing jarring about the transitions between the different musical styles. You know, it's done in such a way that it just seems to naturally work together, and it's brilliant. You know, and you've got to admire the musicianship as well. You know, to be able to switch between all of those different styles. You know, just watching the drummer there in that video. You know, he's thrown his hands all over the bloody place, and you know, I would have tied myself in knots like within 2.5 seconds. You know, but that guy, you know, he's throwing his arms all over the place, and he's managing to, you know, execute it flawlessly. It's amazing. Now, as for the lyrics, there's not really much to them, really. I can't really dive too deep into any sort of meaning behind the song. I mean, it's essentially just 4 lines repeated 3 times. Essentially, that's all it is. So it's not really that complicated of a song lyrically, but they still managed to make it work by using all those different vocal styles, which, as I've said on numerous occasions, is something that I really, really enjoy. Now, the lyrics, they go, "You want to see something special, the power of desolation. Thine eyes bleed at the sight of the gift of trepidation. Come have a seat with the old man amongst his follies squirming. In the soil from swine remains, you will cleanse your soul." And it essentially just repeats those 4 lines. And there isn't really much you can talk about diving in depth to those. There isn't really much to dive into. You know, I can't really. I mean, it almost sounds like they're talking about a soothsayer, or like a, you know, one of these people who tells the future using like herbs and, you know, magical fire. And I mean, in the soil from swine remains you will cleanse your soul. You know, that kind of like almost sounds like an almost sacrificial sort of thing, like mixing blood with dirt, and you know, somehow it will cleanse you in some way. And it's like, do you want to see something special? The power of desolation. Thine eyes bleed at the sight of the gift of trepidation. Come have a seat with the old man. You know, that line there, "come have a seat with the old man," almost sounds like, you know, come and sit with this man, and he will show you visions of desolation. You know, he will show you things that you could only imagine. You know, that's what it sort of sounds like. But you know, I really can't be sure. Um, but it's a great piece of music. Like I said, it's an absolutely fascinating band. There's just something so very unique about the music that they play. You know, it's not anything like I've heard anything like it before. And that sentence made no sense. But I think, you know what I mean. You know, it's unlike anything I've heard before. You know, I've never heard a band similar to this. You know, it's a fascinating band. But yes, there you go. Um, I'm a little unsure how Powder of Sympathy sort of comes into it, with the name of the track being Powder of Sympathy, and what Powder of Sympathy actually is. Unless, you know, it's... No, I can't even think of what it could possibly be. But, yeah, very, very interesting. Very strange and very interesting band. But I really can't think of anything else to say about it, because it's just such a unusual thing. But fascinating all the same. So I'm going to leave that one as it is. If anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you could drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would be incredibly helpful for me to help me create future content. Of course, do know if you do make a suggestion, it might take me a while to get around to it, since I get suggested so many new tracks every single day. My list grows faster than I can actually record the videos, but I do write down every suggestion I get, so it will get done eventually. It's just going to take me a while to get around to it, so, you know, please have a little bit of patience. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those involving people of the alternative culture. I mean, essentially they want to put an end to all hate crimes, but it's hate crimes perpetrated against people of the alternative culture. That's their main sort of focus, since that is how the foundation came into being. And it's something I strongly support, something I feel very strongly about, because it's something I've had to deal with for a large portion of my life. Many of my friends have had to deal with it. You know, I've seen the outcomes of these things. I've been on the receiving end of these things, and it's something that's always boggled my mind. I've never fully understood the logic behind this behaviour. You know, these people that feel they have to violently attack, either physically or even verbally, violently attack people just because they listen to alternative music. You know, I don't actually see the logic or the point behind it, you know, because violently attacking someone because they have a different taste in music, it doesn't accomplish anything, you know. There's nothing you can possibly achieve by doing it, you know. You're not going to beat someone up and they're suddenly going to start listening to chart music and wearing Burberry and beige and all that shite. You know, that's not going to happen. You know, so why bother? What is it accomplishing at the end of the day? The only reason you're doing it, you know, the only reason these people are doing it is because people hate what they don't understand, and they just want to show off in front of their mates. That's it. Because you'll always find that these people that attack people of the alternative culture, they never do it one-on-one. There's never just one of them attacking somebody of the alternative culture. It's always two or more. You know, they've always got to outnumber the goth. You know, it's always that way, because they want to show off in front of their mates. It's like, ha ha ha, look at me, I'm beating up a goth, aren't I hard? Go on, cheer me on. You know. And they're just purely doing it because we stand out. You know, because, well, we're a sort of easy target, you know, because we're noticeable. You know, but at the end of the day, there is no point to it. You know, you're violently attacking someone. You're risking getting arrested just for the sheer sake of showing off. You know, it's stupid. It's pointless, but it's happening. And the thing is, this never ever gets spoken about. Nothing ever gets done about it, because no one talks about it unless something tragic happens, like what happened with Sophie Lancaster. And, you know, there was a punk in America as well. There have been several incidents where something tragic has come out of this. You know, people of the alternative community are getting killed, essentially, just because they listen to alternative music. You know, this punk in America, he was intentionally run over and killed And the guy who killed him basically got away with it because he was a, football varsity sort of type, and the judge didn't want to ruin his future career, and besides which, it was only a punk. It's that sort of view that isn't helping us. It was only a punk. It doesn't matter if it was a punk. It doesn't matter if it was an opera singer. It doesn't matter if it was Neil Diamond's next door neighbour. It's still a human being. What kind of music they listen to doesn't define whether or not they deserve justice. Just because that guy was on a football scholarship doesn't give him the right to kill anybody. And, the same with Sophie Lancaster, her and her boyfriend, Rob Melby, set upon by a group of people, 5 or 6 people, and beaten so severely that both of them ended up in comas. Rob Melby, thankfully he survived. Sophie Lancaster, 13 days in a coma before she eventually died. And, this was all over the news when this happened, 12, 13 years ago. I think it was 12 years ago, maybe, I think. I can't remember. But, this was all over the news 12, 13 years ago. And I guarantee you, in the 12 or 13 years since this has happened, several other people, possibly hundreds or even thousands of other people from the alternative community have been attacked, assaulted, and, brutally beaten since then. But we never hear about it because no one talks about it. No one thinks it's worth talking about, but it needs to be spoken about. Because people are getting hospitalised. People are, getting bones broken. People are, getting severely injured because of these ignorant idiots who feel it is an okay thing to attack us because we don't listen to the same music as them. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It is. Something needs to be done about it, and this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to this. They want people to start talking about the fact that this is happening and put an end to it. Because, the fact that people are getting killed just because of their taste in music, and it is absolutely ridiculous. It needs to stop. Something needs to be done. We can't just talk about this when something tragic happens. This needs to be spoken about. People need to know the consequences of their actions. People need to know that something will be done when this sort of thing happens. And I fully support this fact because, it needs to be spoken about. I've been beaten up, I've been attacked so many times I can't even count. Members of my family have been attacked. One of my older brother was beaten with a bat just because he listened to this sort of music. It's unacceptable, and this cannot go on. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their main goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, obviously you don't feel obligated to, but if you can help them out in any way at all, even if it's a small donation through their website or something simple as one of these Sophie wristbands that you can get from their website, if you can help them out in any small way, it's hugely appreciated. The smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner more people will start talking about it. And the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
You want to see self-expression?